Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to a series of webinars hosted at Eduloans with our financial partners. Today, it's proud that we have with us Mr. Nilanjan sir from InCred Education Loans, who will help us in the next half an hour to 45 minutes, guide us through various, loan options at InCred and why you guys look at education loan. So before we start off, we would like to run a small poll to understand in terms of what you guys look at. So for the guys who are working out of, who are on the laptop, it will get shown, but those who are on the phone, pop-up will appear. So can you guys please select the poll? There is some issue. It seems there is. Okay. Okay. So, sir, can you see this option? I have actually been. So, as of now, all the students who have joined it are for US. So that is 100% US kind of a crowd at the moment. Others, I guess, we are having some login issue, which I'm actually seeing on my phone itself that are people there. But in terms of, sir, as a student or as a parent, why you should look at an education loan, or what are the best funding options which a student has to study abroad?
Sure. Before I start, thank you, Bamit, once again for organizing today's session. These sessions have been very helpful in the past in terms of clarification of doubts surrounding financial issues, mostly for higher education, for our student communities. So thank you very much for organizing this, and I'm glad that I'm here, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. To start with, the question you posed is what are the different funding options? What are the best funding options for higher education? So yeah, I can definitely shed some light on that. But before I tell you about the funding options, the one general statement I would like to make to all the students is that I do understand that higher education is more of an investment than an expense. Okay, so the money you will be putting into your higher education will actually turn out to be the best investment of your life. Okay, the returns you get from getting an overseas degree under your belt is far greater than any benefit you will ever get out of any investment you will ever make in your life. And US government data shows that compared to people who only did 12th or HSC to people who got a higher education degree, be it a bachelor's or master's, over a period of 10 years, on average, they make about 400% more money, more salary than a person who did only education up to 12th standard. So it's proven fact that higher education is the best investment that you can make, that one can make. So to the students, I do want to say, and to your parents especially, that higher education is an investment, and that's how you should look at, okay, and not an expense. Now, how do you fund this investment? How do you, because expenses are going up overseas, the Indian rupee is weakening every year compared to foreign currencies, so the costs are going up. So how do you fund it? And it's not possible for most middle income families or low income families, Indian families, to afford that kind of ticket sizes or money. So there comes the whole option of taking a loan or various other things. So what are those options? So option number one are the family funds, right? These are basically your parents' savings or your own personal savings, family assets and things like that. The good thing about them is they're very readily available. They're right there in your father's bank, or it's a property that your mama has to go and sell off and give you the money. So it's very readily available. You know, it's all there. But there are some very bad negative points of family funds, and that's basically all the hard-earned savings of your parents and your family. You are liquidating them, right? For your own education, and those investments can be kept intact, further invested to make more returns of them. Also, those kind of savings and personal assets and investments of parents need it for emergencies also, right? We just had a global emergency where liquidity becomes such a problem. So the parents also need to have some savings in their bank to take care of their own needs. Also, they're getting old, they may need emergency medical expenses, etc. So it's not a very good idea, considering all of that, to liquidate or expend all your parents' savings into your own education, right? So although it's readily, easily available, I don't think from a family structure, future contingency or exigency standpoint, family funds are the most ideal of funding options to embark on. Okay. The second option are scholarships or grants or funds that the university or the institute will give to you. This is undoubtedly the best way to fund your education. If you can get a scholarship or an assistantship or a tuition waiver, go for it. I mean, that is undoubtedly the best way to fund your education. The challenge with that is, with this funding option, is it's very difficult to get scholarships. They're pretty competitive. Also, there is no clear framework for it. It's not one application you get qualified for all the scholarships. Every college has a different scholarship application and process and requirements. And within the same college, different scholarships may have different applications and different parameters to give you the scholarship. So there is no clear framework for scholarship. It's very hectic to get one. You have to put a lot of effort, lot of work into getting a scholarship. And finally, even if you do get a scholarship, it rarely ever covers 100% of your costs. It'll only cover a small portion, or maybe half or quarter of your total expenses. And you or the student, you as in the student and the family, still have to go and figure out where the rest of the money has to come from. Okay. Having said that, if you can get scholarships and all, go for it. They're very competitive, not given out, and not scholarships are not achieved that easily by students, but worth the shot. And if you get it, if you're meritorious enough and you're good enough and you qualify for and want to get it, and you get one scholarship, undoubtedly the best way to fund your education. Okay. Now, the third option can be a loan, and this can be any loan, like a personal loan or a gold loan. A lot of parents take a gold loan by keeping gold in the bank, or they take a LAP against their property, a loan against their property, which is called a LAP. Now the thing is that these loans are not designed for educational needs. So the terms and conditions will be very stringent. The rate of interest will be very high. The amount of loan given will be dependent on how much gold you are giving. It will not be dependent on how much your education costs will be, or the amount of loan will be dependent on the value of your property and not the actual cost of the education. Plus the repayment, these are all EMI based loans. You take the loan today, the EMI starts from tomorrow, right? And your parents will have to pay that EMI. So not very, very conducive to education, these kind of loans, which are a loan against property or a personal loan or a gold loan and things like that. Okay. So I don't really recommend taking these loans unless you don't have any other option available to you. Okay. And then the fourth and final category are education loans. That's what we will focus on a little bit more. It has become a convenient way to finance your degree. Already in the West, in countries like US and all, education loans have been a very prevalent kind of funding for higher education. In India, it wasn't so, but it has caught up in the last 2 decades. So starting about 2001, 2002, a lot of education loan changes have started happening at RBI's end also, and banks and other financiers have caught up. And then, around 2006-8, the first NBFC or private entity for education loan was launched in India, and that was HDFC Credila. And since then, there are other specialized players who have entered the market. So now the education loan space in India is pretty good. There are education loan, specialized education loan companies who specialize in this, InCred being one of them, and we will talk about that a little bit more. But it has become very convenient to get education loans, and it is readily available also. So education loan, yeah.
Absolutely, sir. I do remember I passed out. I do remember I passed in 2005, and as a student of engineering, I applied for masters abroad. I still remember going to talking to that was the State Bank of Hyderabad at that time, branch manager, telling him, "Sir, I got admission to financial engineering, and I got admission in this and this college." He's like, "What? Well, where is the property?" So the undercurrent of an education loan has changed in the last 10 years. Okay, earlier it was just like an ordinary LAP, loan against property. Where is the property? I'll give you a loan.
Yeah.
But with specialized players like yourself, the benefits of an education loan and the things which are associated with this change. So, sir, what are the benefits, like, for example, versus other loans? What are the benefits of an education loan?
So some of the direct benefits are actually on the slide, and benefit number one is that you are not dependent on your family or relative to pay for your higher education and make your own career. You are pretty much taking care of your own career, paying for it for your own higher education. You're taking care of your own future by yourself. You don't have to depend on family or use up their savings and all of that. Obviously, education loan helps you build your own credit history also. So if students may not know what a credit history is, but it is a credit history is a record of how you have taken loans and repaid them. And every bank or financial institute looks at a credit history to give the loan. So students, typically being young, don't have any loans, so they do not have credit history. And this hurts them later on because they don't get loans after the MS because they don't have credit history, or after the MBA. If you take an education loan, you start building a credit history while you are studying at the college or university, right? So by the time you are done with your MS or MBA or whatever, you already have a positive credit history, which will help you immensely to get a loan, to get that next car loan or a home loan and things like that. Now, other than these benefits, there are some more other benefits also. For example, education loan is also very beneficial to the university or the visa officials because they know that it is a genuine source of funds, right? If you just show them a bank statement, the visa embassy or the university official question, where did these funds come from? Where did they originate from? They may have doubts. But when they see an education loan is the funding that a student is taking, they get a lot of confidence that the education loan company has done due diligence on the student, have checked everything, and that since they have given a sanction letter, which is a legally binding document, the visa officials as well as the university are now confident कि ये पैसा तो आएगा ही आएगा. This is 100% guaranteed. There is no doubt surrounding this money कि ये बाद में will it be really realized to the student or not. Excuse me. Also, education loans are very conducive to education. For example, the amount of education loan you get is correlated to the cost of attendance you will have, right? So if you're going to Stanford to do an MBA and your cost is say 80 lakhs for the MBA program, then the education loan will be given somewhere around that 80 lakh mark, 60 lakh, 70 lakh, 80 lakh, or whatever they are needed. So it is not dependent on the property value or on the gold value. It is dependent on what you need, right? Also, the amount of the loan is given to the student on a semester-wise basis as required. So you don't have to take the whole loan in one single shot and pay extra interest on it from day one. You can take out of, say, you take a 30 lakh sanction of education loan. First semester, you can only take 7 or 8 lakhs. Next semester, you take another 7, 8 lakhs. Third semester, you get a scholarship and you don't need to take the loan, education loan, then you don't take it. And there is no penalty for it. So you take as much as you want when you want. So it is totally designed, customized to help the student go through from one semester to one semester and take the money only when he or she requires the money. Where the education loans don't come that आपको 1 crore का sanction हुआ है तो you take the whole 1 crore in one shot. We don't care if you use it or not, you take it. So all those challenges are not there with a education loan as well. So these are the various benefits that surrounds an education loan.
Nice, sir. And another thing which obviously helps students is the flexibility of payment, right? In terms of education loan, all other loans start immediately, and education is the only loan which starts after 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's one huge benefit to the students, and obviously it's customized as per, and that is where InCred specializes in terms of customization for the student and bringing him on the centerpiece. So, so now, so that as you've understood the, what are the benefits of the education loan? For the audience, although InCred is an household name, but I thought, of asking you, how did the idea of InCred originate, and what has it done till date, and how do you lend to students? How you look at education loan, and how do you lend to students?
Sure. Yeah, let me give you a little some pointers on that actually. So InCred was actually founded in 2016. It was founded by Bhupi. You see Bhupi's picture beside Rahul Dravid's picture on the screen. Rahul Dravid is our brand ambassador. Bhupi is basically a IIM graduate and worked for Deutsche Bank for a long time at very senior roles. He was working with Anshu Jain, who was the global CEO of Deutsche Bank. So both of them decided that it's time that we have to do something for our home country of India. So Bhupi came back from London and started InCred to basically cater to the middle income households of India and their financial needs. So that was the motivation behind InCred, is to enable the middle income Indian segment, or middle income or lower income Indian segment, and give them access to credit and loans and financial services. So InCred has 4 verticals. One of them is education loan. We also do personal loans and business loans, etc., etc. The education loan vertical is headed by me and Prashant Bhosle, who was the head of Credila. Actually, he was the founding member of Credila. I was also in Credila with him. We later joined hands in InCred, because InCred we wanted to do something that is totally InCred education loan, that is totally focused on how good the student is and nothing else, right? That's our primary agenda, is that if the student is deserving and gets admission into a good college and is meritorious, how much the father makes or the mother makes or how much properties or gold they have is inconsequential. We wanted to realize that part of the, resolve that part of the problem. Also, we wanted to do something more tech-based, because we understood students are going to Canada, US, settling down there, and to service the loans from US or Canada, they need a lot of tech support, right? Online management, apps, this, that, where they can do everything on their own. So technology was the other angle we wanted to bring into to InCred. And with these kind of motives, we knew that there is a large market that we can leverage on. Education loan is also the only kind of loan in which you pretty much give money against somebody's future. You don't give it against a house, to buy a house or a car or a property. And like I said, it turns out to be a very good investment for the student. And matter of fact, over the last 10-12 years of my experience in education loan, what really kicks me and motivates me and my team is the fact that we really transform lives. So we take students from Dahisar and Dombivli and all over Bombay and Maharashtra and India, really smart students from extremely poor families or middle income families who would have no probability of going to US and getting that degree from Carnegie Mellon or Arizona State if we were not there. And because we are there, they are able to realize their dreams. And in 2 to 3 years' time, they start making $1 lakh a year, right? And they take that exponential jump towards from being at a certain income level to going to some other income level. And income gain is not the only strong factor. There are a lot of other strong factors that the student also gains. So what really motivates us is that factor of our job, that we are positively impacting and transforming lives positively, and that really motivates us. And InCred was founded to do just that primarily for the Indian student body.
Nice, sir. So, I mean, this is very inspiring, and as you correctly said that, education is an enabler, and enabling them to reach higher heights is absolutely possible. So before we continue further, just to understand and gauge our audience, I'll try to run a few polls on the start dates of various students. So just a minute here.
Sure,
Let me just. So, guys. Okay. So, sir, we have about 25% people looking at spring 2021 and about 75% looking at fall 2021.
Okay.
Okay, and another thing, last question and not the least, which I would want to say, looking at a collateral or a non-collateral loan. That's the audience looking at that.
So I think while we wait on the poll results again on the intake, I think while universities are opening up their doors in the spring, I think the question mark of COVID still kind of looms large, and maybe I think next fall is a safer bet that way. So I am sure some students are getting influenced by that factor a little bit.
Absolutely, sir. I mean, sir, the ones who have actually most of the students who are going at spring this year would be the ones fallouts from the fall 2020.
Yeah.
So they are the ones they've already done. Then
Yes.
most of the loan process. These are the students who look at options and they're exploring the options.
Yes.
Okay. Now, amazingly, you have another statistic that most of the students, right? All of the students are looking at, if given an option, at a non-collateral loan. So that's where we are. So tell me, sir, what are the different, okay, this is about Imperial InCred in general. So tell me, sir, what are the different products of, InCred?
Yeah. So our products for our education loan products are completely based on the students' academic credentials and the program and university that they will get to attend. And basically, the better of a student you are and the better of a degree you are planning to attend, the more are your chances of getting a really good deal from InCred. Okay, that's pretty much what it is. Now, in terms of specific geographies and destinations, we do have products available for all the major destinations. Matter of fact, our borrowers attend 25 different countries as on date. Across 400, almost 500 different universities. Okay. Now, for say a US, if you're going for a MS in the US, we can give you up to 40 lakhs, 30 to 40 lakhs on average, unsecured. Okay. We are not a big believer in collateralized loans, except where collateral is strictly required for some reason or the other. And therefore, unsecured 30 to 40 lakhs easily you can get on average for MSUS. We do go over 40 lakhs for better colleges and students. We may go below 30 lakhs in few cases also. So you will get about a 40 lakh loan for MSUS studies. For MS in other countries, anywhere between 20 to 30 lakhs is possible. On average, 25 lakhs unsecured without collateral is what you can get. There are times when we give a higher loan amount for a MS from Canada or some other country. We may give a 35 lakh loan also. So these are the MS kind of loan amounts you can get. For MBAs, it's about the same, but for US MBA, it's a little bit less because US MBAs tend to be very expensive. So when they come for a loan, they usually come with a collateral, right? So this is where we are on the loan limits. In terms of repayment, you can get up to 15 years of repayment. The first 3 years we give you to study and settle down with a job and all, and your repayments actually start from the 4th year onwards. During the first 3 years, your parents who are co-borrowers or co-applicants to the loan, they can pay us some small amount on a monthly basis, or they can pay us a large amount on a monthly basis. That is totally dependent on your parents' finances and their wishes. Okay. However, the main repayment, the EMI repayment, is done by the student after 3 years. Yeah. And during the first 3 years, monthly basis, we may take 1,000, 2,000 rupees, sometimes 5,000 rupees. If the parents are capable and they want to pay more, they can pay more also. So all of that is very flexible and customized to every family and every student's needs and their application. In terms of interest rate, our interest rates will range typically in 12 to 14% margin. 12% for a really good 40 lakh unsecured case for MS-US. You may get a 12% rate or 12 to 5. It may also come down sometimes, lower than that also, you know. And on the higher side, we are typically at a 13 to 14 range, probably 13.5 average, not over that. These are all unsecured loans. I would recommend the student body not to confuse these rates with the rates SBI or a public sector bank will give you, which is 10% or 10.5%. But those are secured loans. Those are not unsecured loans. There you have to give a collateral. Here in InCred, you are not giving any collateral, right? So that's why the price points are a little bit higher for unsecured loans, right? In terms of when you can apply at any time. As long as you have a GRE or TOEFL, any of those, or you got the admit or you're waiting for the admit, you can go online to InCred.com and just start the application. It's totally online, self-driven. Instantly, you can check your eligibility, and if you like what you are eligible for, you can just apply online there and then. And typically, we are the fastest in terms of loan processing. Typically, in 2 to 3 days, we tell you whether we can give you the loan or not. Yeah, and we'll give you the sanction letter also if the loan is approved. So these are some of the product parameters and process parameters that we have designed for various countries and courses.
Okay, sir. In terms of we do have a couple of questions here. So I mean, on the product side, etc. So does InCred fund the MBBS courses?
So we do fund some MBBS courses. I don't think it is our specialization, to be honest. We are more MS and MBA based. We have done some MBBSs. If we have to do the MBBSs, there is some eligibility criteria that you have to keep in mind. First is that the MBBS college you are going to attend should be in the WHO register of medical colleges, approved medical colleges. Okay, if it's not in that registered, it is pretty much an unlicensed, unrecognized medical college. So we will not fund it. Okay, so we have to keep this in mind. Second is, in a lot of times MBBS can be very expensive also, right? If you take out the Russia, Georgia, China MBBSs, MBBS in any other main country is a matter of crores of rupees of investment or expense, and therefore a collateral will be necessitated in such cases. While we do give unsecured loans of 40 to 50 lakhs, we do not give unsecured loans of 2 crores. So unfortunately, for a MBBS course with a high expense, we would also need a collateral. So provided these two are met, we can definitely look at a MBBS loan.
And sir, another question is, how much ITR should parents have for an unsecured loan?
This is totally not related to the parents' ITRs. From the model that I've been telling you about, what you should tell me is which college, course, country you are trying to go to, because our unsecured limits and our products are designed on that. कि आप कौन से कॉलेज में जाओगे और कौन सा कोर्स करने जाओगे और आपका पढ़ाई बैकग्राउंड एकेडमिक्स और हाउ स्ट्रांग it's based on that. It has nothing to do with your parents' ITRs. Okay, if you are a 320 GRE, 330 GRE student going for, say, MS in Canada at a top college, we will give you 30 lakhs even if your father's ITR is 1 lakh a year or 10 lakh a year or 1 crore a year. That's not consequential for us.
And I think the one question which is asked is, does InCred require entrance exams compulsory for non-collateral loans, especially when universities have waived out the GRE/GMAT requirement?
Yeah. So earlier, before COVID days, the entrance test or the standardized test was a very, very stringent parameter for us for some good reasons. But because of COVID, a lot of universities have started waiving it off and all of that. So what we did is we made some changes in our algorithm and in our assessment setups. So now we have made the changes to where a GRE GMAT is not mandatory. Even if you apply to us without a GRE GMAT or entrance test, our algorithms can assess your UG and your college admit details, your TOEFL if you've taken one. Sometimes TOEFLs are getting TOEFL sites are getting waived off as well. So whatever you give us, our algorithm is smart enough to evaluate it and tell us कि ये student अगर GRE लिखता तो इसको कितना मिलता, right? And then and based on the data we have of we have received about 25,000 applications so far over the last 2 years. And so we have a lot of data. So our algorithms work on that data and understand that this guy went to VJTI Bombay or University of Pune, did this, got so much marks, then worked like this at this company for so much time. So it will give us a projected GRE score of all these students, and we use that GRE score to replace the original GRE score, which students don't have now because it's been waived off. So I don't want to make it sound too complicated, but bottom line is, even if you don't have a GRE GMAT, we still have loan options for you. And GRE GMAT is not a prerequisite anymore to get an unsecured loan. Okay, you can get an unsecured loan without GRE GMAT.
Okay, and sir, in terms of the next question brings us to what is the InCred Advantage? So in terms of compared to other loan providers and or say nationalized banks, etc.
Yeah. So there are some specific pointers you will see on the screen in terms of how we differentiate from other lenders. But let me also give you some of the other unsaid advantages of InCred. Okay. First advantage is the assessment model, which is actually there on the slide. Like I said, the assessment model is not your father's ITR or your mother's gold. The assessment model is you. Who are you? How good are you are? We want to make sure all deserving meritorious students get financial access to fulfill their dreams. Okay, so the assessment model is you. You are at the center of it. This is very much different from the banks completely. And this is probably also a little bit different than other NBFCs because some of them may still want to see the ITR and all of that. We really focus on the student more than anybody else. And we do a very deep dive on the student's profile. Okay, so that is number one differentiator, that InCred is about the student over and on top of everything else. Okay. Second is differentiation is time. Time is of paramount importance to all of us. We only have 24 hours in a day with so many things to do. Life is short. Time is invaluable. So time. So we will save you time. How? Because we are probably the fastest, processor of education loans in India right now. To check your eligibility, you just need to go to InCred.com, education loan, and you register, put in a couple of data points related to your GRE score, GMAT score, or your college, and immediately within seconds, it will tell you whether you can get a loan or not. If it tells you can get a loan, so the eligibility is instant. You don't have to make calls. You don't have to wait for a sales officer to call you back. Nothing like that. You just go on our website, check it out. So we save you a lot of time there. Second time saving is once you apply to us. So if you like what we are offering to you, you then have to apply to us. The application form is online. You just go and fill it out at your ease. You submit it. We tell you if your loan is approved or declined, or we need some further information. If the loan is sanctioned, you can download the sanction letter immediately. If your loan gets declined, you get to find out right there and then it's declined. And if we tell you that we need more information, then you have to upload some supporting documents. And within 2 to 3 days, we get back to you saying that now can we give you the loan or not. So we say we are very fast in terms of our responses and processing times. So time is something that we can save for you a lot. So that's a big differentiation that we can bring to you. Third differentiation, is the technology angle. Okay, we have been trying to build the technology to make it very, very easy for all our students. Obviously, COVID has fast-tracked that. Because of COVID, we did a lot of things this year that were planned for next year. So because of that fast-tracking, you now have a completely online system. You can check your eligibility online, you can apply online, you can upload documents online, you can download the sanction letter online, you can pay the fees online, processing fee online, you can request the disbursement or the money online, you can manage your loan after the disbursement online in terms of paying your overdues or prepaying the loan, downloading various documents related to the loan. It's a completely end-to-end online process. And technology is important because it is dependable, and all of these students being overseas aspirants, they will be in a Canada or Germany or Ireland or US. Their parents will be in Bombay. The parents will have to go to the bank and sit for hours and hours and go to that bank manager again and again for a small request. Whereas in InCred, it is all online. Your parents don't have to go anywhere. Your parents sit at the house and you just log into your portal from Ireland or Canada or wherever, and you request what you need and we will give it to you. Okay, so technology. And that brings me to the final thing, that when you take a loan, do remember that you are getting into a long-term relationship with the lender. Okay, it is not a 1 year, 2 year deal. It is a 10, 12-year loan that will keep running, and you will be in a different country. Your parents will be in India. So to manage the loan, you need a lot of support in terms of servicing. So the servicing that we are giving to you, and because of the technology, technological advances and products that we are bringing to the market, which I just told you about, because of that, the servicing angle will become very easy for you, right? You will not have to go from door to door to get some small service related to your loan. Your parents don't have to run around here and there, nothing like that. So all of this are the unsaid advantages of InCred. Obviously, in terms of our depth and knowledge of the education loan sector, we are a 3-4 year old company, but the people running the show are very, very well experienced in education loan and other loans for the last few decades. So all that expertise translates into good products, the right products, competitive rates, and all of that. So all that benefit is obviously there, but I don't want to talk too much about it. That's for the student to apply to us and find out. So, but this is all I can say in terms of how we are differentiating ourselves at this point.
Absolutely, sir. That was very insightful, and all the students who are listening to our, attending the webinar and listening to our broadcast on FB. All of them are, can understand the thought process for the guys who run InCred and how they think about it. It is very encouraging to note that, that student is taken. So then you said, जब आपने बोला IT return is immaterial, 1 lakh हो, 10 lakh हो, I think you won half the hearts there in terms of, looking at people there. There are a few questions which have come up from students. So for example, if the parent is working abroad and doesn't have a cosigner in India, can InCred still provide a non-collateral loan?
A little bit tricky. Look, there are some RBI norms saying that there are some extra precautions to be taken towards NRI loans and all. If your co-signer is an NRI, do realize that you will also become an NRI very soon. So now we have just 2 people as NRIs on the loan, right? There are some. So there are some, regulatory guidelines, etc., given to us by RBI and all, where they say that 1% should be domiciled in India for this loan. So that's where we are. So we do prefer an Indian person, and that person can be anybody, any relative or anybody, to join the loan. And that person may not have any role to play in the loan repayment, because that is on the 2 NRIs, one being the student, one being the main co-applicant. But then we prefer taking somebody like that as per RBI guidelines. If there is absolutely nobody like that available, we may then explore a collateral option, right? If you have a collateral in India. We also take partial collaterals, which is a partial collateral is basically a fixed deposit. So if you're taking a 40 lakh loan, if you have 5, 10, 15 lakhs available, you can convert that into a FD and give it to InCred, and InCred will keep that FD as a collateral and give you a 40 lakh loan on top of that. So that may be another option such NRI students and co-borrowers may think about in case they do not have any India-based co-applicant.
Okay. Sir, another question which came up is what are the other charges, at InCred? So they're hidden charges. I would say what are the education loan charges at InCred?
There is a processing fee we take. It is roughly about 1% of the loan amount. It's not payable upfront. You only pay it when your loan gets sanctioned and you want to go ahead with our offer. This 1% processing fee, you may not find it in a public sector bank. Okay. However, in a public sector bank, they will take some documentation charges, 5,000-10,000 rupees, and then you have to pay at actuals for the other verifications that the bank runs. So those costs come out of your pocket. The verification that the bank will run, the bank will either subtract that cost from your loan disbursement or will tell you to pay it as a part of your margin money before the loan disbursement, before they disburse the loan. In InCred, we do not tell the customer to pay anything out of their pocket, right? We pay for all of it, but then we take the PF to mitigate that. So you go to a public sector bank or a InCred. End of the day, the amount of money you are spending in terms of processing charges or administrative charges or documentation charges will not be much different. InCred may still be a little bit higher, but bank में भी रहेगा. ऐसा नहीं है कि bank में processing भी नहीं है और InCred में है. That's not the reality.
Right? That is never the reality.
Yeah, there are expenses in the bank also. So this is one charge that we have is the processing fee, and then post disbursement of the loan. Obviously, if you bounce your payments, there is a 590 rupees bounce charges, which is levied by all banks. Okay, if you take a loan from ICICI or HDFC and you bounce a check, they charge you 590 rupees. We do the same charge there. Also, there is a late payment penalty. So if you pay your EMIs late, there is a late payment penalty that gets accrued, right? And that's 2% of the EMI amount for that month. And therefore, it's important you pay your loans in a timely manner and not late. Again, the late penalty is not just the InCred clause. Actually, SBI also has it. Yes Bank also has it. All lenders have it. All banks have it. Late payment penalties. So these are the three main charges that are there, other than the interest rate, obviously. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Much it. Yes.
So, sir, another question which I have is who all can be the co-applicant except the parents?
So we like to keep the parents on the loan simply because Indian family structures are pretty good, right? Pretty solid. Parents, children. In the West, family structures crumble a lot. Parents are divorced, kids are somewhere else. Although that is happening in India a little bit more nowadays, and that's okay. I don't wanna go into if it's bad or good or whatever. It's a reality. But our assumption is that parental structure, family structures in India are pretty solid between parents and kids at least. And when a kid is going, or a son or daughter is going for their higher education abroad, typically the family members are all about it, very supportive. Yes, it's a thing of pride for them, and it's a thing of joy for them that my kid is going to Washington DC or California to study and all of that, and therefore it makes sense for us to keep the parents on the loan because they are the people who love you the most and are the most responsible about you. So in case of any problem, we can easily call the parent, and they are always very cooperative, right, with us. So we prefer to keep the parents in all cases. The parents can be excluded if obviously they're unfortunately deceased or expired, or they are divorced or separated, or for some other genuine reason like a health reason, right? Sometimes parents are suffering from a disease and they cannot come on the loan. So those exceptions are fine. We will exclude the parents from the loan for those cases, but otherwise we typically want the parents to be on the loan.
That's nice. Okay, sir. In terms of there was a question about the property or the collateral bit. So what the question is? One second, let me just check. The collateral is that what else apart from property can be mortgaged to InCred? So what are the?
Yeah. We only take, so property can be a non-agricultural plot of land. It is a commercial plot or a residential plot. It can be an independent house or a bungalow or a flat. Okay. These are the typical different types of properties we can take. Non-property collateral, currently we only take fixed deposits. These are broadly the only two collateral options we can give to you as on date.
Perfect. And we have it's a very specific question. Daughter is planning to go abroad to US for PhD program of 6 years, and we have a property which is 65 years old. Can I get a loan? Parental income is 20 lakhs per annum. So, sir, I guess a 65-year-old property, can that be mortgaged, or would that be able to get a loan on that?
So, property ages are typically lenders typically fund against properties which are of lower age, to be honest. Okay, they are 65 years is, for most bankers, is prohibitively higher, the property age. They will not want to fund against it. I cannot answer this question without knowing PhD in what and in what college. Okay, PhDs as a degree are pretty much fully funded, or they will get fully funded after the first 1 year or first 1 semester. If you are entering a PhD program where the college is telling you कि पूरे 6 साल का खर्चा आपको ही देना पड़ेगा, you should raise your eyebrows then a little bit. Okay, you should raise some doubts, because that is against the nature of a PhD. A PhD will mean that the scholar will be doing some research and will get compensated for that research. And PhDs are fully funded, plus stipend bhi milta hai PhD mein. So PhD funding is never a question. Now, there are some colleges and countries courses which will say, for the first 1 semester or 2 semester, I will not be able to give you any funding. So you have to arrange on your own. But once you come here and you establish a GPA, all these funding options will open up to you. And that's basically what happens. And if that happens, the amount of money you will need for that first 1 semester or 2 semester is anywhere between 15 to 20 lakhs. And provided that the program and the college is good, we can give you a 20 lakh unsecured loan. Your property age and your ITR of 20 lakhs won't matter. So the unanswered piece in this, the puzzling piece in this is, what PhD and what college? Until I know that, I cannot tell you how to structure your loan.
Good, sir. I think we have a very enthusiastic audience here and a lot of questions coming in, but I guess probably we can pick up the one of the last few and look at this.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, it's about the OC now. If OC of the property is missing, then can we get a loan on the property from InCred? So I guess
there are some. I mean, look, this is I cannot say yes or no to it. So OCs and CCs are typically required. The problem is, we live in a country where the builder communities just do whatever the hell they want to, and they do not even issue OCs and CCs to people, which is a legal requirement. So OC and CC is typically required. Okay, if you don't have a OC and CC, I mean, not to play devil's advocate here, but you should really talk to your builders and see where the OCCC is, why it's not coming your way, right? And then depending on which state the property is, which city the property is. So, for example, in Bangalore, Karnataka, the land laws, property laws are different compared to a Maharashtra or a Gujarat. So that angle needs to be taken into account. Finally, the OC and CC can be, so if you don't have a OC but you have a CC, okay, or if the property is over being occupied over a certain period of time. So there are some other angles that we may be able to explore to understand whether this property is acceptable or not. Having said all of this, I want to remind all of you again and again that I understand your questions on properties and all of that. However, we are not a property-based loan-centric organization. I would be much happier answering questions like, my kid is going to do MS Environmental Engineering at KTH Royal Institute in Sweden. How much loan can I get? That's a much easier, straightforward question for us and me to answer, rather than understanding कि आपका collateral का value इतना है तो मैं कितना loan दूंगा. because my loan deals are not based on your collateral. It's based on how good your kid is basically and how good of a college and program they're going to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the last question for the day probably is again, does InCred fund pathway programs?
Surely. Yeah. We do. We have done pathways. Again, I mean, it depends on what kind of pathway, 1 semester, 2 semester, accelerated or not, which college. Some of the colleges giving pathways are really good. Oregon State University in the US, excellent college. You take a pathway there, will give you the loan because we know it's such a good college. They will not admit any era kind of a student. They will only admit a student who have sufficient capabilities to excel at Oregon State, but maybe their English was a little lower score or maybe some, so because of that a pathway was given. So we have funded pathways. We have students who did pathways and got an excellent job at IBM at $120,000 are repaying the loan to us. So pathways are not something that we strictly say no to. However, there are some conditions on the pathway. If those conditions are met, internal conditions of InCred, then we'll fund you the pathway. If those conditions are not met, then we may not fund you the pathway. But it's not a no to all pathways. That's not our policy.
So that program is run by Shorelight. So I'm very well aware of the program, and it's a very good program for Oregon State. And Oregon State is very known for robotics. So that's the one course which is heavily known for. Thank you, sir, for a very insightful session. It was lovely having you here. We kind of overshot our time. It was a 45-minute session, and we took the liberty for 6 minutes more. The questions are still coming. I can assure you on that if you look on the right in the chat. But we'll have to call it here, guys. We are basically from Eduloans, and we work with a lot of partners like InCred and help you out securing the best education loan for yourself. It was a pleasure having Blanjan sir here and on this show, and the recordings for all those who attended, very good. For all those who missed it and the students, you can reach out to us on our Instagram handle. It will be there soon, as well as it will be there on the events page. The recording will be there, and as well as on the FB page. So everywhere you can have a look at this session and gain insights. InCred is very well lending for even for online programs and even for hybrid programs. So please reach out to us, and we'll get you the best loan possible.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Banit. Thank you very much. All the best to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.